Hi there, and welcome to a Papetti Math YouTube video tutorial where I'm going to be teaching you Algebra 1. And in this lesson, we're going to be looking at solving one variable linear inequalities. So in lesson 2, we looked at solving one variable linear equations. But now, instead of having that equal sign, we're going to have an inequality in its place. So if you didn't watch the lesson 2 video in chapter 1, I suggest you go back and watch that to freshen up your skills on solving one variable linear equations before you move on to linear inequalities. If you feel that you're ready, continue watching this video now, because in this video we're going to practice solving some linear inequalities. But we're going to start off by considering the inequality that 1 is greater than 0. Do we agree that 1 is greater than 0? And we should, because 1 is definitely greater than 0. So what happens if you add 1 to both sides of that inequality? Will it remain true? So again, starting with 1 is greater than 0, we want to see what would happen if I add 1 to this side and I add 1 to that side. Well, 1 plus 1 would give me 2. I'll bring down my inequality. 0 plus 1 will give me 1. Is 2 greater than 1? And your answer is yes. It remains true. So we're able to say that we could add 1 to both sides of an inequality and it will remain true. What happens if we subtract 1 from both sides? So again, let's start off with 1 is greater than 0, and we're going to subtract 1 from both sides, and we'll get 1 minus 1 is 0, 0 minus 1 is negative 1, and is 0 greater than negative 1? And the answer there again is yes. So again, we could subtract 1 from both sides, and it does remain true. Okay, what happens if we multiply both sides by 1? So we'll start off with 1 is greater than 0, and let's multiply both sides of this inequality by 1. 1 times 1 will give me 1. 0 times 1 will give me 0. And is 1 greater than 0? Well, yeah, we started off with this inequality. We're back at it, so this is true as well. What happens if we divide both sides by 1? Let's start off with 1 greater than 0. We're going to divide both sides by 1. 1 divided by 1 will give us 1. 0 divided by 1 will give us 0. And is that true? And your answer there is yes. Can you think of any number you multiply both sides of the inequality by that would result in an inequality that was not true? So let's try 1 greater than 0. Let's multiply both sides by 10. Maybe 10 won't work. And we'll get 10 is greater than 0. Nope, that's true. How about a fraction? Let's try a fraction. So let's go 1 greater than 0. Let's multiply by 1/2 on both sides. And we'll get half of 1 is 1/2. 0 times 1/2 is 0. No, 1/2 is still greater than 0. Any number that we could multiply both sides by. Well, we've done fractions. We've done larger whole numbers. What about a negative number? Let's try that. Let's try a negative number. Let's see what happens when we multiply 1 greater than 0, and we multiply both sides by, let's say, negative 1. Negative 1 times 1 will give us negative 1. 0 times negative 1 is 0. Is negative 1 greater than 0? No, not true. So this probably works with any negative number. Let's try it one more time to make sure it works with another negative number. Let's multiply by negative 5 on both sides. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5, and 0 times negative 5 is 0. And again, not true, because negative 5 is definitely not greater than 0. So this is not true right here. So using that same logic, we're going to think of any number we could divide both sides of that inequality by that would result in an inequality that was not true. So again, let's go ahead and let's try a negative number. Let's start off with 1 greater than 0, and let's divide both sides by negative 1. And we'll get 1 divided by negative 1 is negative 1, is greater than 0. Voila, look at that. We are not true here. And again, we could try this as many times as we want with any negative number. We could divide by negative 4 on both sides, and we'll get negative 1/4. is greater than 0. That's not true either because negative 1/4 is actually less than 0. So we found a pattern in parts E and F. The pattern is that we could add anything to both sides of an inequality and it remains true. We could subtract anything from either side of an inequality and it remains true. We could multiply anything as long as it's not a negative number on both sides of an inequality and it will stay true. And we could divide anything on both sides of an inequality as long as it's not a negative number and it will stay true. But when we do multiply by a negative, it does not stay true. So a simple rule that we could use to restore truth to these inequalities, how can we make this true? Well, we could change that greater than sign here to a less than. We could change this greater than sign to a less than. Same here and same here. So a general rule that we could use is that we could flip the inequality when we multiply or divide by a negative number. So when we multiply or divide by a negative number, flip the inequality to keep it true. So that's going to be something that we need to remember for the rest of our study of Algebra 1 and beyond, that when we multiply or divide by a negative number, we flip the inequality. Whether it's a less than, a greater than, a less than equal to, a greater than or equal to, we flip it when we multiply or divide by a negative number. Got it? Good. Now, we finished exercise number 1. Long exercise here. And if this video was helpful in the introduction to solving one variable linear inequalities, give it a thumbs up below, and then click on the link to access exercise number 2. Good luck.